The phone rang just as Annie set down her paintbrush. Nathan's voice crackled on the line. Cold, curt, emotionless. "I'll be late. Don't wait up." He hung up before she could reply. Annie remained frozen, fingers wrapped around the brush like a lifeline. Her eyes drifted to the painting before her, a sunlit room bursting with laughter and warmth. It mocked her. This house, pristine and vast, echoed with silence. She had become a ghost in her own life, floating through days like a forgotten extra in someone else's story. The doorbell jolted her. She wasn't expecting anyone. For a wild second, she imagined Nathan standing there with flowers and an apology. But no, it was Elias. Nathan's half-brother stood at the threshold, rain dripping from his jacket, a tool bag slung casually over his shoulder. His half-smile disarmed her. "Annie," he said gently, "hope I'm not bothering you. Nathan asked me to fix a few things around the house." She hesitated, then stepped aside. "Come in." The door clicked shut behind him, and everything changed. The air shifted, charged, electric. Elias moved through the house slowly, eyes roaming its perfect, sterile surfaces. "This place," he murmured, "feels a lot like Nathan. Polished, controlled, but kind of suffocating." Annie let out an unintended laugh. "He likes things neat." "And you?" he asked, turning to face her. "Do you like living in all this order?" She didn't answer, not out loud, but her silence screamed. In the kitchen, she tried to hide behind the refrigerator door, fumbling for a water bottle. She felt Elias behind her, his presence warm, close. "Annie," he said, her name a soft caress. When she turned, she saw it, something in his eyes. Not charm, not mischief, something deeper, real. And in that moment, Nathan didn't exist. The years of silence, of being seen but not known, dissolved. The storm Elias brought wasn't just in the air. It had rooted itself inside her. She remembered when Nathan used to admire her paintings, kiss her stained fingers, whisper that she created entire worlds. But slowly, the passion disappeared. Now he barely looked at her. She had become another beautiful object in his curated life. But Elias, he looked at her like she was still alive. One evening, while cleaning her studio, Elias paused beside a half-finished canvas. "Did you love this once?" he asked. "I used to think it was everything," she whispered. "But now, I'm not sure I feel anything at all." He moved closer, his voice barely above a whisper. "So why did you stop?" Annie's throat tightened. "Because Nathan doesn't need an artist. He needs a perfect wife." Elias exhaled, a bitter edge to his chuckle. "So you gave up who you were for him. Was it worth it?" She had no answer. That night, the rain came hard. Annie stood by the window, arms crossed, eyes lost in the downpour. Nathan had been gone 2 days, but Elias was still here. A soft clinking from the kitchen pulled her from her thoughts. Moments later, he appeared with 2 mugs of cocoa. "You need this," he said with a wink. She took it, smiling. "You always know how to lighten the mood." "Are you always this tense?" he teased, settling beside her on the couch. "I don't know," she murmured. "Maybe I've forgotten how to relax." "Then try," he said simply. Thunder cracked overhead, rattling the windows. Elias stood. "Ever walked in the rain?" he asked, eyes gleaming. "You're serious?" Before she could object, he grabbed her hand, pulling her outside. The rain hit them in a cold rush, soaking them instantly. Annie laughed, really laughed, as they ran through the yard, breathless and drenched. For the first time in years, she felt weightless. They stopped under the porch light, water dripping from their hair and clothes. Do you know what you look like when you laugh? Elias asked, voice hushed, like someone who just remembered how to live. Annie's breath caught. If you lived differently, he continued, stepping closer, would you be happier? She didn't answer. She couldn't. He raised a hand, brushing his fingertips across her cheek. She didn't pull away. Their lips met, soft, tentative, electric. When they broke apart, her heart pounded in her chest. If you want me to stop, I will, he whispered. She didn't speak, but in her silence, everything was clear. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the curtains. Annie sat up in bed, the memory of last night etched into her skin. Elias had left early, but not without a note. Last night was real. I'll wait for you. By noon, she was still lost in thought when the front door creaked open. Nathan was home. He looked tired, as always. But there was something sharper in his eyes today. Something suspicious. You okay? He asked. I'm fine, Annie replied, too quickly. That evening, the three of them sat around the dinner table. The silence was loud, tense. Elias tried to mask his glances. Nathan said nothing, until he did. You've been here a while, haven't you, Elias? His voice was calm, but barbed. Getting comfortable, aren't you? Elias stiffened, but before he could reply, Annie interjected. I asked him to stay. He's been helping around the house. Nathan's eyes narrowed. Is that so? Or is there something I'm not being told? The accusation hung in the air, sharp and slicing. Annie's chest tightened. One wrong move and it would all collapse. What are you talking about? She asked, trying to hold her voice steady. Nathan stared at her a moment longer. Then he stood and left the room, leaving only silence behind. Annie looked at Elias. He remained seated, gripping the table's edge. You don't have to stay, she said softly. This is going to get worse. He looked at her, steady and calm. I'm not afraid of Nathan. But you have to decide. Not for me. For yourself. She sat in silence long after he left that night. The storm outside had passed, but a storm still raged within her. By dawn, she had her answer. She didn't pack everything, just enough. Her paintbrushes, her canvases, her truth. When she walked out the door, the sky was clearing, the world washed fresh by the rain. She didn't know exactly where she was going, only that she was finally choosing to live.